the single best way to disobey big tech and to be platform proof. It's kind of the new term I'm coming up with lately. I'm sure somebody else has come up with it, but the best way to be platform proof, which means if Facebook goes out of business tomorrow, which it happened in MySpace. It's not like it couldn't happen.
That's right.
What's the new TikTok? What's going to happen to TikTok? I don't know. What's going to happen to Snapchat? I don't know. Since their IPO, their stock's gone down like 90%. So probably not good things. The best way to be platform proof is to have partners who support you and mail you and use whatever platform is hot these days to promote you on. But the partner stays the same.
This is an intro. Intro.
Hustle and Float Chart with your boy, my boy, Matt Wolf and Joe Fair.
Hey. Yo.
Hello again.
Hey, hello.
Welcome back.
You have a named doppelganger on the show today.
I do. His name's Matt.
His name's Matt.
Yeah.
Or is it Matthew?
Yeah.
Sure. Probably. Most likely.
My name's both.
Yeah.
Just like you're Joe and Joseph.
I could be just Joe legally.
But you're not.
But I'm not.
I've seen your driver's license.
That's true.
You could be Josephine.
Giuseppe. But you've seen my driver's license.
Jose.
That's possible in another country.
Yeah.
Or here. But that's not my driver's license either.
Okay. Yeah, your driver's license says Joseph.
Just call me Pepe.
Okay, Pepe.
Pepe!
Pepe long stockings.
Long stockings. I kind of do today. I don't normally wear
my stockings are actually longer.
Your stockings.
Do you want to see them?
Sure. Show me your stockings, Matt. Wow, look at them. He's all decked out in SDSU gear. Is it a game today or something?
There is a game today.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I should just watch your stockings and your hat.
Yeah, if you see me wearing the Aztec hat and the Aztec socks, that means it's game day.
It's game day, bro. Actually, ironically, we talk about this with Matt, too.
Did we talk about it on the recording or was that pre-recording?
It might have been pre-recording,
I think
actually.
We talked about it before we hit recording.
Oh, saying that, there were a few things out of context that we needed to say that we talked about with Matt, and I don't think I wrote it down.
No, it was Rich's event. So when we first jump onto the call...
Wait, who are we talking to?
So we're talking to Matt McWilliams, who is just, like, when it comes to affiliate recruitment,
badass.
He is the top of the mountain. Like, this guy recruits affiliates for the biggest badasses on the planet.
He is the affiliate guy.
That's literally his brand, yeah. That's part of his brand, is the affiliate guy.
Or something. But definitely the affiliate guy.
Yeah, so, but he's done affiliate management for Rich Schefren. So when we first get into the conversation, you're going to hear us talking about this event that we just came from where we were all awake for ungodly amounts of hours.
Far too long.
And all that sort of thing. That's what we were referring to is the CSIB 2020, the Coalition to Save the Internet Businesses event that we went to in Delray Beach, Florida. That's what we're talking about when we first kicked this episode off.
Our delusional state of being in an amazing room at Mark Ford's private cigar bar.
Yeah.
Freaking art everywhere. I think it was like millions of dollars of art. Just amazing people. Cool event. Matt was the guy, the affiliate art manager. He freaking coordinated all of this stuff around affiliates with extremely limited time frames and legal and all that stuff. I mean, it's all the different qualities that go into launching when it's under a big company. Yeah. So it's cool to hear the perspectives, and we'll get into that.
But he's been the affiliate manager for Rich, obviously, on this event, but also Michael Hyatt, Ray Edwards, Brian Tracy, Lewis Howes, Shutterfly, Peter Voogd. Is that how you say his name?
I'm not sure. I think he also said Ziegler.
Jeff Goins.
I think he even said Adidas as well on the show. Big stuff, big brands.
So when it comes to affiliate management and actually recruiting affiliates to promote your stuff, this guy is like top of the food chain there. And we basically just picked his brain for like an hour and 20 minutes on how do we get affiliates for our business? How do we get people to promote us? How do we get them excited? How do we get in contact with these really big name people that maybe we don't have relationships with yet?
How do you stay top of mind?
If you were just, if you have a product and you don't have any network in the industry yet, how do you get started recruiting affiliates if you don't even know anybody yet? We cover all of that ground, and this is like a masterclass on getting affiliates to promote your business.
Yeah, and these are it's good for us and it's good for you. When people like Matt come on our show and they essentially coach us on something we should be doing in our business, which is exactly what he did here. And
we win, and so do you.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. I think it's the best way to learn is you're seeing very practical examples of how to apply this stuff. So it's not just concepts, it's not just strategies that are kind of fluffy. Like, we get into it. So you'll hear him break down what we should be doing in our business as getting affiliates and stuff to promote our stuff. But saying all that, you can completely take away everything he's saying and apply it to your own business too.
Any business, if you have something for sale and you would like people to promote the thing you have for sale, this episode is for you. It
pumped us up. And I'll just say, like, this is a little side note that we don't talk about a lot is, I think it's pretty obvious at this point. We know a lot of people. This podcast helps a lot. We've talked about it before. This podcast is the quickest and most leveraged way to grow your network. But we had a big network getting into this. It's just gotten a lot bigger, a lot quicker with this show. But we've never totally asked for support in terms of being, getting affiliates for our own products.
Right.
And I don't want to say we finally cashed in, or like, no, that's not how we see it. But it's interesting because there's a lot of equity built up over the years of basically supporting our network, and we try our best to do that and prop them up and edify and all that stuff and promote them. But now is a turning point to actually, like, hey, let's actually do a little bit more together as affiliates.
Well, I remember Jesse Elder said it on a podcast at some point. I don't remember the context, but he kind of talked about networking as this concept of watering the plants, like planting seeds when you first meet somebody and then constantly watering the plants. And like every time you reach out and wish them a happy birthday or offer to help them or ask how they're doing, that's kind of putting a little bit of water on the plants. And you're constantly watering, you're planting new seeds, you're constantly watering these plants, knowing that someday you might be able to harvest these plants. And that is really kind of the overarching, I think that's like the perfect metaphor for what we're talking about in this episode, is like, how do you plant the seeds? How do you continually water the seeds? And then when it's time, how do you actually harvest those seeds? Or harvest those plants?
That's pretty much what we cover here. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So Matt actually has, and you have the URL. I don't.
I do.
Matt McWilliams, our Matt here, Matt Wolf, holds the URL that you should go check out right now.
Yeah, so go to mattmcwilliams.com/hustle. He put together, I believe it's like some sort of cheat sheet with some ways to recruit affiliates. And
it's a ton of different ways, he said.
Yeah, a ton of different ways to recruit affiliates, and he made it available for free for our listeners over at mattmcwilliams.com/hustle. And also, we got some notes.
Got a lot of notes on this one, man.
Yeah.
So Sue has done her diligent note-taking homework on this episode. Thank you, Sue. So get the notes. It'll make Sue happy. It'll make us happy, but more, it'll really pay off for you. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
If you apply it, that is. But get the notes. If you go to hustleandflowchart.com/comp, COMP, if you want to use the computadora,
or you can use the phone by texting the word comp to Fugs0, or is it Fugs Plus?
Fugs Plus. It's right
Fugs
behind you,
Plus.
man. It's on the board.
Yeah. So
Fugs
we wanted to figure out what. So 38470. You text the word comp to that. We wanted to figure out what we could spell with it. It doesn't spell any words. The closest pronounceable thing we came up with was Fugs Plus.
FUGS plus sign, which is really just 0.
So text the word comp to Fugs Plus or 38470.
Fugs.
That is one fugly URL. No, fugly phone number.
It is very fugly. But you know what? We're owning it because it's the best we got.
So just remember Fugs Plus.
It was either that or Doug's Plus, like DUGS Plus, or...
What else? We had Evip.
Don't do the other ones. No, we're going to confuse everyone. All right, 38470 is the number, or comp, or Fugs Plus, FUGS plus.
See, now everybody's just going to remember Fugs Plus, and they'll never forget our phone number.
That's perfect. That was the whole point, because our number is not memorable by itself.
Yeah,
that's why I have a big Post-it note on your monitor.
I literally have a Post-it note with this number, so we don't forget it during podcast days.
All right, it's so important. Please go do that. I mean, everyone who gets the notes literally rave about the notes.
Yeah.
And we do have a physical newsletter and digital newsletter for some folks that basically compiles all of these notes every single month, and we give it to you. And it's like pretty much the most no-brainer buy that people make in business.
15 bones.
That's what they have told us. We really should probably put real testimonials in here so I can use real words.
Maybe someday.
But we just haven't done it yet. We have them, but we just haven't done it yet.
All right, ready?
So, go ahead.
The Evergreen Profits membership and newsletter is the most valuable thing I have ever purchased in my life.
Matthew Wolf said that.
Matthew Wolf.
I love reading notes that other people write for me from episodes that I record with my voice.
Yeah.
That's a testimonial from Joe Fear.
Cool.
All right, cool. So you should go buy
Now that there's some testimonials and we've got that social proof there, you should go grab the $15 notes.
We checked the box. But,
There you go.
well, the notes actually, just get the free ones first.
Oh, get the free notes.
free
Yeah,
ones.
hustleandflowchart.com/comp
Or, you know,
or Fugs Plus thing.
Fugs Plus and Comp, you know.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out.
All right.
Let's carry on here. Yo, Matt, really quick.
Yo.
So we were just messing around with our most favorite tool that helps us ninjally
Do SEO?
jump the ranks
Yes.
and creepily beat the competitors out there on Google and YouTube.
Lots of
and all.
adjectives here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to use adjectives and sound smart, but I'm using, I don't know. I think they're working out.
Yeah.
But we basically have a tool that helps us do all of this stuff to help with our content marketing and get a lot of visibility for everything we put out in the world.
Yes, that
What is
tool
that
is
tool?
called Ahrefs.
Dang right it is.
.com. That's spelled AHREFS.com. And we do have a membership. And I'm not saying this just because they're a sponsor of ours, but we actually use it. We pay for it and we love it. It's one of our most used tools in our business to figure out what keywords to go after, what competitors are doing, to figure out what where we're ranking so we can, sort of level up the rankings for the various keywords that we're pushing. And dude, it does so freaking much.
It's a lot. There's a lot to uncover, and it's a beast when you get in there. But it's got a lot going on. So you definitely want to check out Ahrefs. It's basically a tool that we only really talk about it actually on this podcast.
Yeah.
And it's super cool that they're supporting us. And it's actually, we reached out to ask them about that originally because we love their tools so much. We wanted to somehow shine some more light on them with the cat. So it's really cool. You should check it out, ahrefs.com.
Yep.
And basically check out their content too. They have a great YouTube channel. If you check out Ahrefs, their channel there.
Oh, we've learned a ton about SEO just by watching their YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, they literally give a ton of SEO strategies and spotting opportunities and gaps and da 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 da. We'll make a big old list in future episodes. They sponsored our show last year actually, and like each one we made kind of like a new nugget.
Yeah.
Of like a new training you can use in SEO and then use Ahrefs as to just basically speed up the process. So their YouTube channel is great for that. They have a blog as well. And so check them out, ahrefs.com. And you're going to love it because we love it.
Yep.
See ya. Mr. Matt, how you doing? Matt McWilliams, that is.
I'm doing awesome, guys.
Yeah, man. It's a long time no see, all of a few days ago or so in Florida. Whatever it was.
Yeah. It feels like it's been like 2 weeks, but yeah.
It does kind of already feel like it was a while ago, but it was like literally last week.
It's that whole lack of sleep thing and,
It's a distant memory.
Distant memory of Florida past. Yeah.
So it turns out if you don't sleep for like 48 hours straight, then that window feels like a long time ago. Weird effect.
Yeah. I think we rocked like 2 hours in about 48 hours. So that was, I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
In fact, I've never been young enough for that. Come to think of it, I like there's no point in my life when I reflect was it like, yeah, I could do 2 hours. I've always been like, I need my 6.5 to 7 at night every night. And, so it was kind of tough for me.
Yeah. And I praise the Agora folks, that were up for, some were saying up to 40 hours straight or something like that. I mean, it's gnarly.
Well, one thing I don't think a lot of people that were watching the live stream realized was that when that live stream started, we'd all been masterminding for like 12 hours straight prior to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Rich had not, nobody like there. It wasn't like Rich woke up at 4, 5 in the afternoon or, or took an afternoon nap. Like, no, we were busting it. The whole team had been busting it, since early in the morning. And so then, and it felt like we just went, we went back to the hotel for all of like 30 minutes. I went back and like changed shirts and laid on the bed for like 10 minutes. We called the kids and then we were there, it was just like boom, boom, boom. So it was,
That's crazy.
I don't want to do that anytime soon. Again. I'll pass. Hard pass on that.
Yeah. Well, let's, I mean, yeah, and we're all, obviously, we've been chatting a lot about Rich's stuff leading up to this point too. So, I'm sure in our intro, we'll preface a lot of this stuff here and say what we're actually chatting about.
Yeah, I was just thinking that's my stuff. Like the listeners have no context for what we were just talking about.
Yeah. Well, we always record an intro after the episode has been recorded. And so we sort of tee up everything that we're about to talk about.
Awesome. So let's just start doing, I'm going to run your podcast for you here. Let's just start telling stories in the middle of them right now.
Now I got to make notes of all these things, these loose ends. Like shit. All right. We talked about that. Yeah, man. But you engineered all the affiliate stuff regarding his launch. So, I mean, like, props to you, man, because you definitely wrangled the best and the best in the business and somehow got them all out there in one place, too.
And all under the sort of restrictions that were placed upon the affiliates as well.
Anytime we have to work with legal department, that's, it's kind of one of the downsides of my job. And we've worked with Adidas, companies like Adidas and Shutterfly in the past. And Agora was no better, no worse than them. The difference was, when we worked with like Adidas, way back when, we came on board and we got through all the legal stuff in the first 90 days. And then it was kind of like free sailing for the next couple of years. When we worked with Shutterfly, it was like we got through all the legal stuff in the first 90 days and it was free sailing for the next 3-4 years. With this, we had 90 days.
Wow.
So you can do the math on, actually we had less than 90 days. We had like 75 days.
Yeah.
So you can kind of do the math on that. It took us about 70 days to get through the legal stuff, which meant we only had like 5 days in the free and clear. That was really the difference. Anytime you work with a company worth more than $1 billion, there's going to be attorneys, there's going to be, legal stuff. So it kind of comes with the territory.
Yeah.
And it comes with being a big company. We're not strangers to that, thankfully.
Yeah, I mean the turnaround time was pretty crazy. I think Joe and I got on board fairly early on in the process. We got on board to work with Rich to help Rich get on a whole bunch of podcasts. And I mean we were dealing with like
late November.
That was just starting late November, and he didn't actually get on shows until like late December. And
I mean, I remember when we connected, it was like the very first week of December. We hadn't even signed the contract yet. So it was pretty pretty bang.
Yeah. But so, I mean, the fact that it still got the leaders of the industry out there to support and, do the best they could. That's shows the quality of what you're bringing out there, and they hired the right guy.
Yeah, I mean, the people in that room were literally the who's who of the marketing world for the past decade, essentially. More than a decade.
Yeah, there were only, a handful of people we wanted that we didn't get just because of scheduling conflicts, which is, we tell people anytime, you're working with affiliates, you're going to them and saying, hey, will you promote us? Will you support our launch? Will you support our event? Really, the normal ramp up time is 9 months. Most people can either have an open spot on their calendar in 9 months, or they can move something 9 months out for the right, thing. Right. I look at like our promo calendar. It's booked through about October, which, as we're recording this is literally almost exactly 9 months.
Yeah.
If you approached me and said, hey, I've got this thing in September, could you do it? It depends. If you're a good friend, we can move some stuff in September, but November, December, January of next year, February of next year, that's when we can really be like, yeah, we're wide open. Let's do it. We can put it on our calendar. I don't have to ask my team to get creative. We don't have to, reach out to other people and move stuff or readjust, content calendars or think about, wait a minute, I was going to do this podcast series in, September leading up to this. No, it's anything past about 9 months for most people is pretty open. Till you start getting to like really, really big names, you might have some problems, but that's why we typically go 9 months. But this was all in 75 days.
And it all wrangled together somehow. And I mean, in the middle of it, while the event was going on, it felt like it went off without a hitch. I mean, we obviously didn't see all the behind the scenes, but yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the actual live stream yet, but everybody I talked to that watched, we had some people in our mastermind that literally watched like 21, 22 hours of the 24 hours.
I heard about
they all fell asleep right before I went on, ironically.
You know, it's interesting because like I was thinking to myself, who's going to sit around and like just kind of watch this stuff? Like who's going to like just get sucked in and watch for hours and hours and hours? But the first night the event was on, you know, Joe and I actually managed to pop back to a hotel and, you know, get some naps in and before going back. And before we went to lie down, I had flipped open my laptop. I'm like, I'm going to see what the landing page looks like, how the live stream's doing. When I turned it on, it was right in the middle of Perry Marshall talking. This was at probably
he was on right after me. Yeah.
This was at probably like 3 a.m. or something, right? Like really early in the morning.
When he went on.
Yep. Yeah. So I flipped it on and I was just like, I get it now. I think I got sucked in for like an hour and I was like, oh crap, I was going to go to sleep tonight and flipped my laptop closed.
Matt and I were in completely separate hotel rooms and we were doing the same thing. Like we didn't talk about it, but I did the same thing. I was like, damn, this is actually really cool and interesting.
So I mean, it was really engaging.
Yeah.
Well, let's step back a little bit. I want to get into you and your story, and I want to learn how you got into this whole affiliate marketing game, this whole internet business that we're all in. You know, what were you doing before this, and how did you get into what you're doing now?
Gosh, so it all goes back to a stormy night, 1979. No, really the genesis of it was I grew up. We were talking earlier. I went to University of Tennessee, played golf there, played professionally for a couple years after college, and there was a friend of mine and I. We grew up, at golf courses. Right, that's where I lived. I mean, I got out of school, went straight to the golf course, stayed till after dark. Left and did the same thing the next day. In the summer, I was there from sunup to sundown. And we always used to joke that we never wanted to be one of those guys who grew up teaching old ladies in purple sweaters how to play golf. That was our thing.
Yeah.
So fast forward to 2002, I had a long story, had a pretty bad injury that, was going to put me out for about 2 years. Decided to work for my dad teaching golf. And that's how I got into marketing, actually. This is back when I could go to Google and say, hey, Google, I'm going to give you 10 cents a click. Like, just to be clear, everything I'm about to say is not replicatable today. I'm going to give you 10 cents a click. They came to our website. There was no opt-in. There was no free report. There was no lead magnet. There was no nurture sequence. There was no, start naming a marketing term we use today. You came to my website and you either gave me $2,000 to $3,000 or you left. I converted about 1% of people. Wow. You can do the math on that. Wow. It cost me $20 to acquire a $2,500 customer for a golf school. So I'm 22 years old and we're doing these golf schools with, 8 to 10 people paying, average of $2,500 a piece. Again, you can do the math, $25,000 in a weekend, splitting it 50-50 with my dad. I'm 22. Like most 22-year-olds, I mean, how long does it take them to make $40,000? A year?
Sure.
I was doing that in like 3 weekends.
When I was 22, I was playing in a band for beer money.
About the same here.
I mean, it was just like, it was clockwork. About half the year, I was bringing in between $12,000 and $15,000 a week from golf schools and golf lessons.
That's a great lesson.
The other half of the year, our downtime was, $4,000 or $5,000. I lived with my mom. I paid her, she had no idea how much money I made. I paid her, I paid half her mortgage and half her bills. It was like $300 a month,
Wow.
And so, but that's how I got into marketing. And then sure enough, one day, but I hated it. And sure enough, one day, let me back up. So there's this weird dichotomy. I don't know if you remember, but back in the day when your shopping cart made a sale, there was a desktop app. This is like Windows 95, right? It was like the Southwest ding that told you when there was like a deal on a flight. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Sure, yeah.
And it would ding. And I'm like, boom, $2,500.
The money machine.
Dang it. Got to teach somebody how to play golf.
So you loved the marketing part. You just didn't like the teaching the golf part. Gotcha.
Yeah, I hated it. So sure enough, one day, this 70-something-year-old lady in a lavender sweater comes walking up. Sweetest old lady in the world comes walking up. And I had I don't know if you guys remember the 0.2 megapixel flip phones,
we had
the originals.
Yeah.
And I pick it up and I go like that and I send it to my best friend Hunter, the one that we swore we would never teach old ladies in purple sweaters how to play golf.
Oh, no.
And I wrote these words, "Kill me now." That's all I wrote. Now,
Yep.
A good female friend, any of the females out there will know, a good female friend will call you back within moments. Like, "Oh, honey, I am so sorry. Do you need to talk? Let's talk about this. How can I help you? I'm going to get on the first flight and come see you." Like a good male friend, his only response was, "Haha, sucks to be you." And so that's the response I get. Well, anyway, that was the beginning and the end. Thankfully, later that summer, the day after my birthday, my dad handed me $500 in cash as a birthday present and fired me. And best thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
Best thing that ever happened to me. So fast forward about a year and a half later, kind of took some time to figure out what the heck I wanted to be when I grew up. Started this company selling leads to insurance agents. and we had no money. That was a big problem. We had $10,000. We spent $5,000 of it on banner ads. This was 2004. Don't laugh. Okay. That would be really stupid today. It seemed like the smart thing to do in 2004. So January 2005, we're sitting there basically going, okay, we have $5,000 left. How in the heck are we going to like compete against, these publicly traded companies worth $100 million each? What are we going to do? And I was like, well, I heard of these people called affiliates, like radio stations. No, like it's like they market us. They'll send us people who need insurance, and then we'll like pay them 30 days later. For a company in a cash flow crisis. This was, I might as well just said it was manna from heaven, So I describe it and like, I'm getting excited, this is what I do, right? I'm like, this is gonna be the greatest thing ever. We're gonna have all these affiliates. They're gonna make us tons of money. And we don't even have to pay them for like 30 to 40 days, and we can cash flow this and blah, blah, blah. And Hunter, that same friend, we started this business together, looks at me and goes, how do we find affiliates? I'm like, oh crap. So that's kind of been my mission for the last 15 years now is how do we find affiliates? How do we work with affiliates? How do we did it for our business. Within 2 years, we had a $12.5 million affiliate program. Since then, I've worked with companies like Shutterfly and Adidas. Entrepreneurs is kind of my jam now, like Rich, Lewis Howes, Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, Michael Hyatt, Brian Tracy, people in the personal growth, marketing, self-improvement, self-education space are the folks who I really have gravitated towards over the past like 7 or 8 years. Just helping them to find affiliates, work with affiliates, because to me, you've got a shirt there, Matt, that says, I think that's the Disobey Big Tech one, isn't it?
Yeah, it says Disobey Big Tech.
To me, the single best way to disobey big tech and to be platform proof is kind of the new term I'm coming up with lately. I'm sure somebody else has come up with it, but the best way to be platform proof, which means if Facebook goes out of business tomorrow, which it happened in MySpace. It's not like it couldn't happen.
That's right.
What's the new TikTok? What's going to happen to TikTok? I don't know. What's going to happen to Snapchat? I don't know. Since their IPO, their stock's gone down like 90%. So probably not good things. The best way to be platform proof is to have partners who support you and mail you and use whatever platform is hot these days to promote you on. But the partner stays the same. And to kind of tie it back to Rich's thing, you mentioned All-Star Group, right? Every single person there, this is no exaggeration, literally every single person there that I know, and you guys might literally be the only exception, and I don't know, was either a partner of Rich in the past, he was a partner of them, or they were a friend of mine because they were an affiliate for one of our clients. Every single person there. That's how Rich knew them or I knew them, was through those three things. So what does it all tie back to? It ties back to affiliate partners.
Yeah. We've actually been an affiliate partner of Rich. So
there you go.
Were we actually before?
Yeah.
We were? Okay. I didn't even know that. Yeah.
I didn't know that either. So
well, I was an affiliate partner of Rich back when I was working with Josh. So it was
a long time ago.
That would be like pre-2012. Yeah, pre-2013.
Yeah. So
okay, that's why
we've been doing this stuff since 2007. Joe and I have been like business partners, like working really closely together since 2013.
Right.
So it was in that window somewhere between 2007 2013. That we promoted some of Rich's stuff back when he had his manifesto and some of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
We got connected to him through Alex Jeffries, actually. That was would have been around 2009, actually. Yeah.
Yep. So the way that we
you see how that works.
Yeah.
This is 11, 12 years ago. Alex, an affiliate for Rich, connects you to Rich. You become an affiliate for him. And then you're both, sitting poolside with all these other rock stars. That really is how the world works. Like I tell people all the time, affiliate marketing is nothing new. It's been around. Like I can just imagine like Romans walking around in togas and sandals, 5,000 years ago. They just didn't have cookies and, IP tracking. They didn't have Chrome back then. Yeah. And so, how did they track it? Well, it was like, hey, refer this guy to my deli.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the Romans had delis, but I'll have to study that later.
They should,
did
yeah.
the Romans
They should
delis?
have.
I just assume they did.
meats.
I mean, I just assume delis have been around since like Genesis chapter 1.
Get your grinder
But,
sandwich over there at the deli.
Yeah. They had meatballs at least, right?
There you go.
Probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, I mean, they've been around since then, like, hey, you send this guy out of my deli, you say that it was, Thaddeus who sent me, and then I give you a free sub. I don't know. It's been around for thousands and thousands of years.
Right. Yeah.
All Amazon did, because Amazon basically invented this, was add technology to it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, the technology hasn't really evolved that much. The principle remains the same. It's relationships, and it's relationships. And it is it really and truly comes down to two people, supporting each other in some manner that is mutually beneficial for them and for their audiences. I mean, that's effectively all it is, like in its simplest form. I think anything past that, like people always ask me, like, I mean, we sell these things because people need them. But people ask me, like, do you have like recruiting email templates for affiliates? I'm like, yeah, just don't sound like a moron.
Yeah, be human.
Here's a template that we've used, that we've tested, that's been successful for a decade. Yes, there are some principles you can do to kind of get them to open it, but it's like, just don't be weird. That's kind of the best way to get affiliates. Just like invest in people, and they'll want to invest in you.
Yeah. And that's everything we do in our business. We realized has been the backbone of our network. I mean, everything from podcasts, getting folks on here. Biggest piece of our business is affiliate marketing, brokering, which is basically just affiliate marketing anyway, but with a different form. And that's where we love to operate. And it's fun, and it's great for any business. It can be an add-on, a bolt-on to someone's existing offerings. That's something, people are constantly asking us, how do you get in affiliate marketing? Well, what are you already doing? And if someone else has a product, service, or something that you don't want to fulfill on, but it's relevant to your offer, to your audience, bolt it on. Just be a good guy, and, pass them some leads, and they'll pay you in result.
So I'm curious though, before we get too deep into like affiliate marketing sort of strategy type stuff, when you first started out and you decided you were going to go down this affiliate route, how did you actually get your first handful of affiliates to promote something? Because, if you don't know anybody, how do you get into it?
Yeah, we knew nobody in our industry. Fast forward like 3 years later, we knew I'm having dinner with the CEO of our largest competitor. We struck a deal that was worth about $10 million a year to us for them to be our largest affiliate. But I didn't know him at that time. Very simple, and it's what we teach people all the time now. If you're new in your niche, you're not an A-level player. You don't come in with, sometimes you can be new in a niche, but you've got $10 million sitting in the bank from a previous career. Well, you can go figure that out yourself. I'm not speaking to you right now. It's very simple. We did the same thing in 2005 and 2006 that we're doing in 2020, which is we're looking at people who are promoting similar products. It's very simple. This thing has been around since then. It's called Google. Like back then you actually had to go to google.com. Now you don't. That's probably the only difference. You type in your competitors, and you find people that are promoting them. And so, I mentioned there's a template that we used, and it's still, this took us about 4 or 5 years to perfect. It's pretty dialed in, but even within that template, there's some nuance that we apply, but literally we'll find that person. There's almost nobody we haven't been able to find their email address. There's Rocket Reach. There's what's Salesforce's thing? LinkedIn Navigator.
Hunter.io.
They're like, search how to find an email address. Like, this is the thing. It's all at your fingertips. Like, stop making excuses for why you can't find partners. And we would reach out. So let's just say I'm going to think of somebody. Oh, there. I'm looking at his picture. Jeff Walker. Okay. So let's say we have a course that's about product launches. Be kind of weird, but just run with the example. I would put in the subject line. I would probably, because I'll talk about the follow-up in a second. I would start with probably product launch formula in the subject line. And I say, hey, I saw you were promoting, Jeff's product launch formula, and that's awesome. I'm a big fan of PLF. I have a course that's similar, but it's different in the following ways. And I would list 2 or 3 ways, not 7 ways, not 11 ways, 2 or 3 ways that it's different. I was wondering if we could chat maybe about, you becoming a partner for it. Let me know what you think. Now, the key to this first email that I learned over time, like by screwing it up, again, a lot of what we did back then to build a $12.5 million affiliate program in less than 2 years, there are parts of it that that are unreplicatable today, but you can probably screw up as badly as I did and build a $9 million affiliate program. The biggest mistakes that we made were trying to say, here's all of our stuff and here's a novel. Hey, would you like to read a 3-page email? Even back in 2006, 2007, let alone today when our attention spans, what was I talking about? Yeah. No, anyway, here's the key. Don't try to get a yes response. Don't try to you're trying to get a no response. That's acceptable. No is a perfectly acceptable response. What you're trying to get is the 3 magic words in affiliate recruiting. Tell me more. Just tell me more. I'm interested. Tell me more. That sounds fascinating. Tell me more.
The door.
That's what you're looking for, because now that follow-up email, that first email is this long, the follow-up email is that long, but it's like, you're standing there in their door. The door is open so you can give a little bit more detail. Then everything is follow-up. And so for us, now we have all these amazing tools. It used to be that I had to write them down on legal pads. I literally had legal pads and legal pads and legal pads just full of names and email addresses. Okay? I still use legal pads, but that was my follow-up, which was cross through and write, yes next to them, or no, or follow up on March 3rd. And then I'd have to go put a calendar reminder, and it was really antiquated. Now we use Asana and everything is follow up. You're going to only 5 to 10% are going to even open the first email. But if you keep following up, and we follow up typically on a 13-day cycle. The reason we picked 13 is then we're hitting a different day of the week, for the first 7 times.
Oh, okay.
And so we'll follow up at different times, different days of the week. We'll follow up on weekends. We'll follow up on Monday nights, Tuesday mornings, Wednesday afternoons, and we'll just kind of like mix and match it. I'll follow up with videos. I'll follow up with, again, we're talking about don't even know the people. We haven't even gotten to
totally
hey, this is my friend Dave, and I'm going to try to get him to promote our upcoming launch. That's a totally different beast. This is all email. But I'm going to shoot a video and I'm going to say, hey, Joe, it's Matt, and, blah, 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 blah. And I'm basically going to read to them the first email for all intents and purposes, but it's about a 40-second video, something different. I'm going to find them on Facebook and shoot them a DM. I'm going to find them on Instagram and shoot them a DM. Basically everything that you can do that's more of the public facing stuff. And you're going to follow up and you're going to follow up and you're going to follow up, and we'll follow up to about 25 times before we finally pull the plug. Nice. We start after about the 10th follow-up. We start, what's the word I'm looking for? Widening the gap between follow-ups. So we'll typically go to about a month at that point, just because now it's like, maybe they're just ignoring us. Maybe it's a busy season. Let's go a little bit more. But yeah, we'll go 25 to 30 times, I believe, before we finally.
Dude, that's amazing, the follow-up, because most people get scared to follow. They think they're bugging people, but of course, like you said, people are busy, they're missing things, it's noisy out there, and the fact that you're hitting it all over the place.
Dude, 14 years I've been doing this. I've never once had anybody get mad at me for following up. The only response I've ever gotten, and I've probably gotten it more than 1,000 times, is thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for, I missed this. This sounds exciting. I missed it. I found this message in my spam. No wonder I didn't see the first one. I whitelisted you. Those are the response. 14 years. I'll put it this way. I've worked with more than 300,000 affiliates. Okay. That I've actually worked with. That means that's the number that I've worked with. So I'll take one example. Jeff Walker. I've worked with Jeff on probably a dozen launches now. So if the average affiliate, if I've worked with them on, let's just say 5 things times 300,000 affiliates, I have recruited 1.5 million affiliates. That's a total guess. I have no idea what the actual number is and don't even care. Sure. But it's in the million. It's over 1 million. And not one time have I ever that's the thing, is people have that fear of that, like you said, Joe, and it's a completely unfounded fear. It does not exist. And even if you did upset them, the type of person who gets upset at you for following up, in a reasonable amount of time. I actually have a personal pet peeve about following up in less than 48 hours. This is me. But you follow up 13 days later, they're not going to be mad. And the person who does get mad, weren't going to be a good partner anyway.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
What have you lost?
I've had people that have followed up with me that I've gotten upset through their follow-up techniques, but it's usually the people that you can tell have copied and pasted something to 400 people and then, followed up with the same copy and paste message. Yeah. And, so there have been times I've actually sent a reply email and been like, stop emailing me. You're bugging the crap out of me. But that's pretty rare.
Yeah. So the copy paste thing. So are you guys still there?
Yeah, the video kind of froze up, but we could keep going.
Audio's good.
You can edit it. Okay, there we go. Hey, we're back on. Woo, we're all live now. Okay. Make a note, edit that out. Anyway, why am I the one who's going to edit that out? I'm like used to doing the podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate that you're willing to. That's great, but
save us some time.
In all honesty, we probably won't edit it out.
Yeah. Put the bloopers at the end. Anyway, if you think about it, it's on the copy paste thing, that email. So we just talked about that email, that basic format. I saw you were promoting Jeff Walker's, product launch formula, blah, blah, blah. I do copy and paste that. There's usually one little thing that I try to find, like, I loved your podcast that you did with them. I love the image you used where you and Jeff are at the party and, there's something about their promotion. Sometimes it's that I got, and at this point it's that I get their emails. I'm on their email list because we're on, thousands of email lists now. It's not my personal email address because that would just be overwhelming, but I monitor this and I'll go look for their email and I'll be like, okay, let's just pick a mutual friend, Todd Brown.
Yep.
And Todd, I love Todd's subject lines. And so I'll go find maybe when he was promoting, Rich's event, I'll be like, Todd Brown, Rich Schefren. I'll find I'm like, okay, dude, that subject line where you talked about the time the guy farted on the plane, that was awesome. And I'll just put that in the email. That's the entire extent of the personalization of that email. Yeah. How long does that take? 45 seconds.
That's it.
It's like, Joe, you and I talked about, how do you get on podcasts? If I'm giving away your secret sauce, you can totally edit this out.
You're good.
Very simple. I go listen to their I go scroll through the podcast. I find somebody that I know. Okay. If you don't know, let's go to, if you don't know anybody, I find somebody that I like. I find somebody that I'm interested in. I don't know most of the guests on most podcasts. Usually I can find like one person though, if it's a good, and if that's a sign though, if I can't find one person that I know, it's probably not a good podcast.
Probably not a good fit. Yeah.
And like, let me just find somebody. Maybe it's just that I'm a big fan of theirs. And I go, I'm going to listen to this podcast. Dude, I love the podcast you did with Matt Wolf. It was amazing. Matt's a new friend of mine. I love when you, why am I going every example I'm going to come up with today is about a guy farting on an airplane. It's because a guy farted on the airplane.
Keep it going. Keep it going. We've all been there.
I love when you told the story about the old lady in the purple sweater. That was me, whatever. And like, blah, 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 blah. Hey, here's what I talk about. And now that's copy paste. That's it's totally so copy paste. But that one little element of personalization, it makes all the difference. And so, Matt, you're right. Like it's when, like, I'll give you an example. This is how simple it can be. Hustle and flowchart. You guys don't really use like an acronym like some. So John Lee Dumas, his audience is Fire Nation.
Fire
right?
Nation, yeah.
This one little thing, when I follow up, I'll say like, hey man, just wanted to see if you got this. Launch is coming up in 4 months. Really excited about it. I think this is perfect for your audience. Backspace, backspace, backspace. Your audience becomes Fire Nation. Boom. Made the email. That made the email right there. That little thing, like that took me 8 seconds?
Yep.
That's it. It's gotten to the point where we don't do this. Like I don't personally do most of the reach out anymore. That's my assistant. But back when I did it, it was those little things, those little personalizations that, take 8 seconds to, you can literally just get into a mode, play some trance music. I found rave music is really good for sending like hundreds of emails.
You just getting the energy up.
Yeah. And it's like telling you to do things like work it. And I'm like, I want to work it. I just want to.
I like that. It's good motivational music. I never thought about trance music.
Actually, yeah, for monotonous and somewhat boring activities, I have a song. It's about a 2.5 minute song that just plays on a loop for 10 hours.
Wow.
Do it.
I can get into like, and I have total entrepreneurial ADD, by the way. Like I literally have ADHD, right? I was diagnosed with it when I was young. Thank God my mom never put me on medicine, but that's a whole different thing.
Lucky you.
And yet when I have this song playing and I'm like, you'll see me. It's like, we've taken video of me and I'm like this for an hour and a half in a row. Just
you
going
should
like
share this. Because if you use Spotify, you should share the link to that song. Yeah, just so
it's
we can
a
put
YouTube video.
Oh, even
YouTube
better.
Video.
Share that with us if you don't mind.
Remind me, and I'll share it's like a 2.5 minute song on a 10-hour loop.
That's
and
awesome.
the worst, but here's the funny thing though on that is when the song changes and then suddenly I'm hearing, like right now I'm hearing Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins before every YouTube video.
Oh yeah.
Love them both. It's awesome. But like, I'll be like, and then all of a sudden I'm like, and he's like, hey, it's Tony here. I'm like,
who the hell is Tony?
Dang it.
Where'd he come from?
What am I doing? I don't even remember. Like, and then it's like, it's just a free for all for the next 15 minutes till I can get back on track.
Next thing,
So I have to remember sometimes at the beginning of the workday to rewind that video all the way to the beginning.
you come out of it and you're like, oh crap, 3 days later.
Little hack.
Yeah.
Put that thing into a YouTube
did I just
playlist.
do a 24-hour live stream?
I'm telling you, YouTube playlist
Rich
and put that thing on repeat.
Or just get the YouTube premium. That's what I did because I was I listened to like YouTube videos as I fall asleep sometime. Like there's like nice sort of what do they call them?
They're like hypnosis type
like kind of stuff. But basically what will happen is I'll start listening to like these like YouTube videos that like help you fall asleep, and they're like affirmations and stuff like that as you fall asleep. And then what'll happen is it'll play for like 20 minutes and then an ad will start and you'll snap out of it right as you're trying to fall asleep.
Mid-sleep.
So I upgraded to the YouTube premium just so it wouldn't do that.
Well, this is like, it goes to the next video, just to be clear. And the next video is like, something weird, but whatever.
Yeah.
That reminded me of college. I had a tape, literally a tape. Our sports psychologist, and I can still hear his voice when I meditate now. I can hear his voice in my head. His name was Pete. It's probably still Pete Giacobbe. I don't know if he changed his name, but his name is Pete Giacobbe. He's like a professor at like Arizona State or something now, and he's a sports psychologist. And I can still hear his voice to this day. Like I could walk you through my pre-shot routine from playing golf step by step, like second by second, because he talks through it in that voice. So like, and I would listen to it every night as I was falling asleep.
Wow.
And then wake up with like my headphones like jammed in my ear canal,
hurting, and like it's worth it.
Well, this episode is sort of timely for us because after so we've never really done anything on this side of affiliate marketing, right? We're affiliates. We like to promote a lot of other people's products, but we've never really
rock affiliate marketing. Yeah.
Thank you.
But we've never really done the have affiliates promote our stuff. Like we've done it here and there. We've had very small runs where we have like 2 or 3 buddies of ours mail for us, but we've never really focused on rounding up affiliates. But after this event on the flight home, we actually realized how our business is very close to what Agora's business model is, just on a very, very tiny scale compared to where they're at, right? But we actually sell newsletters, right? We're in a newsletter business, and they have affiliates, and they're selling at around the same prices that we're selling our stuff at. So we got to thinking, they're doing this with affiliates. Why shouldn't we? And we kind of had this thought that it was like too low ticket to get affiliates excited about it. Or
what is the ticket? Let's talk about that.
So right now, our monthly newsletter is $15 a month or $59 a year.
Yeah, you pay a nice little recur, because I mean you have no overhead on those newsletters, like on an incremental overhead, right? Like it costs you the same to sell one as it does 1,000.
Correct.
Right. Right.
Okay. Because if there's incremental overhead, like if it's a newsletter that you're mailing out, and you got then you got to.
We do. I guess we'll preface there is a physical aspect to it. But with the annual, we're actually going to go digital with it. So it's very similar to Agora.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll tell you right now, we promote all kinds of stuff that's $10 to $50 a month. Simply because, if I send, 300 people your way and you pay me, I'm just gonna make them number $5, a sign up, make it a some sort of a percentage or whatever that's, equitable for everybody. That's $550, that's $1,500 a month, just coming in like clockwork for us.
That's right.
It's, you remember the old Ronco infomercials, set it and forget it?
Yeah. Right.
That's what that's like for us. Like,
true.
it's like mail 5 times, make, 1,500. There's diminishing returns, of course, over time, let's be honest.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, that's the type of thing. Yeah, you guys have to do that, man. And you guys have you have a set list. What guest number am I? Like 900?
You are around the 300 mark.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I mean, probably like 260 or something. Yeah.
Okay, so you have 260 people that are like prime affiliates.
They are.
Oh no, not all of them are going to say yes.
More than that.
But you have.
I was going to say more than that. We've had some of these people on our show flat out say, "Give me something to promote. I want to promote you guys."
Including Agora.
And the thing is, you get to skip all those steps because you have their email, you have their Facebook Messenger, probably. You have their most of them probably have their mobile number. You have ways of reaching them. They know your name. They open your emails, and you reach out to them. And I mean, so I'm in the middle of doing this for one of our big launches, and literally, I meant, because we were joking about this beforehand. This is what I'm doing all day right now. Holding a phone in front of me and saying, I mean, like, I can do this script in my sleep. And every video I've recorded, if you look at my list of videos and my photos right now, it's between 44 and 48 seconds.
Wow.
I'm saying basically the same thing over and over. And I'm just, hey, we've got this thing coming up. It did amazing last year. We just finished the sales page, man. I cannot believe how good the testimonials were. Like, I knew we did a good job with this, but the testimonials are amazing. Anyway, man, blah, blah, blah. If you're interested, we'd love to have you. Let me know. I'll follow up with an email here in a couple days, and then I'm just texting them. And it's just like, I've been watching as we're recording this, and I'm getting responses like coming across my MacBook like the whole time. It's the most distracting thing in the world for me right now. Note to self before doing podcast interview: put computer on D&D mode.
D&D mode is great. Yes.
Because I'm like, oh, shiny object. What?
Yeah. Just remember to turn it back on, because then you'll ignore everybody else. That's what happened yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've done that before.
I was like, "Are you dead over there?" Because he texted me. I was like, "Oh shit!"
My mom got genuinely scared once because I had to mute her. Anyway, but like, you have that ready, set audience, and here's the cool thing about affiliate programs. So, we already talked about how you get to make money before you spend money. If you're any type of cash flow situation, it's literally like printing money, and you got to give some of it back.
Sure.
But you get to keep a lot of it. That's the cool thing.
Defer.
The other thing is it's infinitely scalable, because there are people out there, like, I'm not in your niche, but you have information that my niche needs. Would you target the same terms as I would target on Facebook? Probably not. But I'll promote you. I'm already saying this, by the way. Yeah. So when you do this, I want to see a video from you guys, please. I'm not going to make it easy on you, but I'm going to make it easy on you. You have to recruit me, okay?
You may or may not see a video later today, because we may or may not send videos to all of our guests.
Secret sauce, Matt.
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry.
Ooh, that's
peeking behind the curtain.
So yeah, work that in, right? Yeah. And so it's infinitely scalable, because I'll promote you to an audience that you might not target. And that's the problem, like I see with Facebook ads, and this is with LinkedIn ads, with anybody, is like, going back to my origins, 2002, 2006, 2008, it was like the wild, wild west. Like, you couldn't target people. Like, we were like running ads trying to get insurance agents to, like, gym owners.
Right.
It was like crazy, right? But we get so myopic. With like who we're targeting, that like, I'm going to target 32 to 38-year-old men with 2 children whose favorite football teams in the NFC West. It's like, and what do you end up with that? You have like 82,000 people that you can even, and that's great. But why would you not reach more people that maybe are outside of that do end up interested? But the big one is that with affiliates, unlike, like, if you run a good Facebook ad, guess what you did? You ran a good Facebook ad. You ran one good Facebook ad. Can you learn stuff from it that makes it easier to run a second good one? Of course. But does it just automatically like reproduce more Facebook ads for you? It doesn't. When you have 10 affiliates that have success with your promotion, you'll get another 4 to 7, but doing nothing. And the cool thing is, there'll be 4 to 7 people that you probably either didn't know, or that said no to you, or that ignored you because they were unwilling to say no. But when someone else told them, dude, I'm promoting this newsletter, I'm making $3,000 a month, like this.
Clockwork. Yeah.
So it's success begets success. And the cool thing is now you go from 10 to, let's just say 6, but those 6 send 4, and those 4 send 2, and those 2 send 1. You're at 23 just from 10. And like I said, these are people that are 9 times out of 10 are outside of your ecosystem at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
And that's how we've grown. And, the cool thing is now, like, our starting point is, 3,000-4,000 people, and 3,000-4,000 people. Every time we run a launch, we'll have 500 affiliates, right? Every time when we look at the list afterwards, it's like, how many new people did we add to our CRM? And it's like 82. And I mean, I don't mean this the wrong way, but I know almost everyone. How did I add 82 people? Even Rich's event, there were 2 people there I didn't know.
Wow.
Literally did not know them before. Had no contact with them or their JV managers before. That's pretty cool. Like, that's 2 new people in our ecosystem.
Sure.
So that's the beauty of it over time, is it begins to, like, it almost kind of begins to take on a life of its own.
Yeah. And I love the perspective of being so myopic. I think, and I know we have as well, been very myopic in our promotions with very, ads, not asking for affiliates, not even thinking about how to just go to the guests of our podcast. We have a whole community that loves us on our Facebook group, our email list. I mean, each one of us have all these buckets of folks that follow, that if you just ask and give them a good opportunity, more likely than not, you're going to get a lot of them wanting to raise their hand and actually show up and help you out. And
and when you're starting out, you start off with your customers and your guests, in your case. Like, you can expand later, but you start off with these people. Like, I mean, like I said, I would promote you just because it's you guys. If I make $8,000 in the first year, great. I made 8,000. Like, woohoo. That's not why I'm doing it. And so let's just say that as you start your affiliate program, there's some bumps, because there's going to be some bumps. You're going to break something. Something's going to break that was totally your fault. And you forgot to check a back end of something. That's life, right? Yeah. And that cost me $1,000. Am I going to be like, Joe, I love you, but I'm done? No, I'm going to be like, dude, that kind of sucks. Oh, well, because it's you. But if I came, out of your ecosystem, you recruited me off the street and were like, hey, we run this newsletter and we saw you promoting this other newsletter that's kind of similar. We'd love if, okay, I'm doing it for the money. I'm doing it for the money, and also doing it to serve my audience. If something goes wrong, I'm like, the bridge is burned. We're done. Relationship over. So you start off with the people that the people that already know, like, and trust you, and actually know, love, and trust you. And then from there, that's how you work through kind of the bumps and the hiccups and, there's just going to be stuff like something's not going to convert. Something's going to, a link's going to break and all that stuff, because, death, what is it? Death and taxes are the 2 things in life that are certain. No, there's a third certainty. And that's if you're running a big affiliate promotion, something's going to break. It happens every single time. It's happened with $1.8 billion companies and, $1.2 million companies that we've worked with.
Now, do you think it's important when you're recruiting affiliates to offer additional incentives on top of, like, commissions? How there's always like the leaderboards and launch prizes and stuff like that. With something like what we're doing, just, to use it as an example, would you recommend that we kind of go some sort of like launch path and try to do a big explosion right at one time? Or should we let it, kind of do it a rolling thing? Because, it's going to be something we consistently sell for forever until we exit the company or whatever. But, should we do a big launch spike, or should we just kind of always be rolling with it and bringing on new affiliates here and there? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Here's what I would coach you guys on for that. And then anybody else listening, of course, will apply this to their business. If you have an evergreen product, it is hard to do. Actually, let's back up. So when there's these big product launches, what a lot of people don't see is behind the scenes, there's prizes. So our top affiliate's going to get this, and we're going to do this, we're going to do this. There's masterminds, and there's all these incentives to push. Well, if you have an evergreen program, how do you kind of replicate that? What I would do is about once every 6 months. Anything more than that, and it begins to just become like, oh, well, whatever. We become blind to it. It's like banner blindness, right? But about once every 6 months, I would do a big push. And I would announce it. You have to announce it close enough where people can adjust their promo calendars. but not so far enough where people can adjust, but not so far in advance that somebody goes, well, I was going to mail in May. I'll just mail in July. And it's like, no, you want them to mail in May and mail in July.
Right.
And so what you do is you run a contest, about once every 6 months, where for this month, it's like our, if you get 100 signups, you're going to get $1,000 bonus. If you get, if you're the, for our top 5 partners in the month of August, we're going to do, this. And in your case, because you're making money the second month, third month, 12th month, hopefully, 20th month, your newsletter is so good, of course, people, you'll be making money on them for 5 years. Yeah. But it's cool. So let's just do the math. $15, 59. That's roughly what's that? 4 months and 4 months. Yeah, 4 months. Wow, really? You pay 4 months and you get the whole year. Is that the math on that?
That would be the math. Yeah, this is a digital.
Okay, cool.
So
yeah, that one's for the digital, right? So $15 a month, and we
cool.
actually mail it to you. $60 a year, you get the digital.
Okay, so let's just say that they sign. Let's just say that you count all signups the same. For purposes of this,
Sure.
And you're paying. We'll call it I would just go flat on something. I don't go percentages. If we're just going to pay $5 for every, $15 a month one, and we're going to pay you, $20 for every, $59 one. Just nice round numbers, right? I would basically say in this form, for every sign up, we're gonna work it out where we break even, quite frankly, in the first. And if their orders are tilted towards one way or the other, that makes you actually lose a bit of money. It is what it is. Sure. And so 100 signups is, $1,000. That's $10 a sign up. Yeah. If every single one of those was $15 a month and you're already paying them $5, you just broke even.
Yeah.
But next month you only pay them $5 and $5 and $5. And you got this massive influx due to this contest. So you make the contest something that is ridiculous. Like we typically will go like, first prize, $100,000 on a big launch. That person sends, $500,000 in sales, and we already are paying them $200,000 in commissions. We don't, quite frankly, make a ton of money on that. In the end game, it's really cutting into the profit margins. But the cool thing is, the person who was going for that finished second and third, that were chasing first, that sent another $400,000 in sales trying to chase first. That $400,000 was free.
Got
and so it's the same thing with so we'll do these contests. Like we'll look at your numbers, say, here's another one you can do that I would run. I would run this one once a year, twice a year. These are individual contests. You take your top X number of affiliates, basically anybody that's sent enough sales that it's worth you taking the time to do this. Solve for X. Is it 50 sales year to date, in August? Is it 100 sales? I don't know. It's totally up to you.
Right.
I'd probably say around 50. And I would look at what they did last year in, say, Q4. So October through December. And last year, Q4, they made 40% of their sales. So we're going to estimate they're going to make, and you got to do, it's like an algorithm in a spreadsheet, and it only takes a couple of minutes. And you basically estimate that they're going to make 52 sales this October through December. And you tell them that. You email them in early September and say, hey, last Q4, you did 52 sales. And then internally, what you've noticed is they're down this year, though. So they're not tracking like they're going to do 52. These are the targets. You say, hey, if you do 60 this Q4, you just beat last year by a little bit, we're going to give you a $2,000 bonus. Again, like what, 60 sales, $2,000? Like I'm going to lose my butt. Well, you're going to lose your butt for 2 months. And then you're going to be fine.
That's true.
Well, here's
the cool thing about that is, what if they hit 56 sales? That was 10, 15 more than they were going to make, but you don't pay on a dime.
Yeah.
Odds are they're not going to land right on 60. They're going to blow through it or fall short.
Yeah.
And so either way, you end up making more money. And so you just got to get creative with contests. Yeah.
And what's interesting about our newsletter too, that I'm not sure most people realize, is that we actually have sponsors of our newsletter too. So the more subscribers we have, the more sponsorship revenue we make off of our newsletter. Yeah. So that's another way we recoup some of those costs.
That is very true.
Yeah. And I mean, that what I just said is true if it's a retail product. I mean, we did those contests with Shutterfly and Adidas. It's true if it's an Evergreen membership sign up, a physical product. a digital product. It doesn't matter. Like the principles are still the same. You want to find creative ways to incentivize people to take action. And the key is you need to know what motivates them. And so it might be that the best bonus is not $1,000 cash, but the best bonus is, hey man, I really want to serve your audience this month. How many sales do you think you can send me? I think I can send about 100 if I really push. All right. If you send 100, if you sign up 100 people this month, I want to do a special training, no pitch training. I just want to like you and me serve your audience for 2 hours next month. And now they're like the hero to their audience because they get to position that as a bonus that is going to help them sell even. Seeing it like they're going to sell more. So then they're going to, and it's like this, it becomes this cycle. You just have to know what incentivizes them. There are times where what incentivizes me is cash. Because I can pay my team with cash.
That's right.
There are times where what incentivizes me is the opportunity to be at a mastermind. Last year I busted my butt in affiliate promotion for Michael Hyatt. I had no business being number 3 in his affiliate promotion. My list was a fraction of the size of everybody else in the top like 8, but I finished in 3rd place right behind Jeff Walker and Pat Flynn. Next thing you know, I'm hanging out at a place called Blackberry Farm, which is my favorite place on earth, for 4 days with those guys. And it got me that relationship with Jeff that I otherwise wouldn't have had, to the point where now I feel like I can call him a friend, like he was not a friend a year ago.
Sure.
So you got to know what'll motivate people.
Yeah, no, the mastermind thing's been a big motivator. I've actually done fairly well in some launches in the past just to get in, in the room with people, right? Like, because I feel like some of those relationships are more valuable than even the cash prizes that we could get out of it. I remember I did one launch. I think it was for one of Mike Vilsame's products where me and my partner at the time actually came in second on the launch, right above Auntie Jenkins and right below Jeremy Shoemaker. So I was like, I was pretty stoked to be in the top 3 with those. But yeah, it's
motivations. At the end of the day, you can work. What I like about this is you can think laterally, and it's all human. Yeah. It's a human connection thing. So it's like some people just, maybe you want to do maybe they want some consulting from you for something, some specialty, for instance. And you're like, okay, well, let's work a deal. I mean, can you send, X amount of sales my way? Yeah. And we can make that work. And that's cool. And
yeah, you could strike any deal. It could be even like, hey, if you know somebody, for whatever reason, they reached out to you on Facebook Messenger 2 weeks ago and said they want to land more, podcast interviews. Oh, wait, that was me. No, but like, okay. So here's the thing. Hey man, I know you want to land more podcast interviews. I just had this idea. Like last June you had 82 sales. Tell you what, any month, the rest of the year, you pick the month, you hit 100, signups that month. I'm going to introduce you to 20 people. I don't know. You can get, and that doesn't cost you a dime.
Nothing. No.
Probably takes you 40 minutes to shoot the intros. There are just little things that you can do like that. Cause his thing is, I want to be on podcasts. So I'm going to go out of my, all I got to do is make 18 more sales than I made last June. Gosh, what do we need to do? Do a Facebook Live,
push it over
and
the edge,
maybe send one extra email. And how is that not a win for me? Because I know what 20 introductions will do. It'll get me about 10,000 people on my list. Yeah. Sending one extra email will get about 27 unsubscribes. 10,000 minus 20. Yeah, that's going to be a win.
Yeah. It works out net positive. Cool. We might get an email or a video from us regarding this later today. But secret sauce. No, this is cool. Yeah. I think it's like, again, getting out of the myopic way of thinking like, hey, we got to do this ourselves, grind. No, leverage your network and give value to your network, work deals. There's something there. Everyone's here to support us. We had a lot of chats, and your character, how you show up and how you give value to the world, like you just said, that's how you get supporters and people to really bring you up rather than just kind of ignore or just let you kind of do it yourself. I think if you show up well.
How are you looking on time right now? Because there's 2 kind of, I think, quick rabbit holes I wanted to touch on. If you have time, if not, we can always do
all
part
the time
2.
In the world for you guys. Yeah. Not literally. But
well, sweet. All right. So the first rabbit hole, I just want to get your thoughts on like reciprocals, right? So there's sort of I feel like it's sort of a divisive topic, right? Some affiliates think if I promote you, then you're sort of obligated to promote me, and then there's other affiliates that are like, no, if I promote you, you pay me a commission. That's the end of the transaction. So what is I personally kind of lean towards the latter of the two, but I'm curious on your thoughts.
We discussed that on the front end with anybody. If you are and there are times where, I especially, I hate to say it this way. It kind of sounds like a crass way, but where we're getting the advantageous side of the, agreement. Mm-hmm. There have been people back when I was just first starting out. I had 8,000 people on my list, and they had 100,000. Mm-hmm. I'll do a reciprocal. If that's what it takes to get you to promote, absolutely.
Yeah.
Be honest with them. And I would tell them, hey, I finished 9th in that affiliate contest. I know how to sell. But just so you know, you're not going to get 4,000 leads from me. So if you care more about leads and sales, I'm not the guy to do a reciprocal with. So be open and honest with them. Talk about it on the front end. Mm-hmm. Be judicious, I guess is the term I'm looking for, and who you'll do a reciprocal with. There are some things that are just off limits. If it's not on brand, if it's not going to serve my audience, if, I'll give you an example where this would work. If you own a landscaping business and you were going to promote our former client, Ray Edwards, who owns a copywriting business, landscapers need to learn copywriting. So you promoting Ray Edwards makes all the sense in the world. Hey, landscapers, learn copywriting. Here's my guy, Ray. But Ray can't promote you.
Right. Yeah.
That would make no sense for him to promote your landscaping thing, right? Doesn't make any sense, because less than 1% of his audience is landscapers. Right. 100% of the landscapers audience needs to know copywriting. There's also some creative ways. So you do it on the front end. With smaller people, it's usually not even a thing, that's why we love small affiliates. For you guys, that's going to be somebody making 1 sale, 2 sales a month. Right. They're never going to be your biggest affiliate. They're going to grow at a small pace, but you're going to have an army of them. Yeah. So if one of them stops promoting you, you don't even notice it.
It's okay.
That's the beauty of it.
It's a lot of a little.
But there's also, we call it triangulation. I think we got that term from Bill Clinton, actually, back in the 90s. And that is, let's think of a good example here. Then the landscape thing with Ray, that's a really extreme example. So your product is great for my audience, or my product is great for your audience, but your product is not good for mine. But I know this person. And so what we'll do is actually, it's like a 3-way trade in the NBA, right? You'll promote me and I'll promote him and he'll promote you. And they're like, whoa, my gosh, is it really that complicated? No, it's not. It's sometimes it's even as simple as, I did this recently. I was like, hey, just, on the front end, I was getting a big affiliate partner for our upcoming launch. And I said, just so you know, I want to be clear, we can't promote you because your product is not a really good fit for us. Our product is perfect for you, and that's why you're interested. I can't promote it, but I want to introduce you to this other person, and I'm confident that we can help facilitate a relationship, with them. And I know that they'll be a good partner for you. Are they already a partner? No, they're not. Great. Then, and I literally just went ahead before they ever promoted us, because our promotion is not for a couple of weeks. I went ahead and introduced them to that person, set that up. Now they're promoting them. And then that person's product is actually a pretty decent fit. I've already promoted them. And so I wouldn't say they owed me, but it's a service to them, because now they're connecting, and that's something for them to promote. It's a way for them to make money. And so there's some creative ways around reciprocals. They are a part of the game. They're not the end all be all. Right. And
at the end of the day, the biggest part of the game is the relationships, right? So if you can just have an open communication with the people you're working with and build good relationships, you'll sort it out, essentially.
And number one, is the product good for my audience? Is this going to serve my audience? And I remember years and years ago when I was first kind of getting started out, working in this world, working kind of in the small business entrepreneur space. And there was somebody that promoted us that was a fairly big name. Like you've heard of them. I won't say who it is. And I just had this uneasy feeling the whole time about promoting them, even though I had said I would. It was one of those things where I didn't do my homework on the front end to like really study what his, what his product, what his brand was like. It's very off brand for me. And I remember just feeling really like uncomfortable. Like, what am I going to do? And I actually made the decision. I think, they paid us, I don't know, $12,000 in commissions. I sent him a $12,000 check. I sent him every dime that he paid us. It was better for me to sacrifice $12,000 than to feel like, cause I remember I'm like, this was like a week before his launch and I'm trying to write email copy and I can't do this. I cannot do this. It wasn't a bad person. It just was off brand for me. It wasn't like I was doing anything unethical in my opinion, very off brand. And I was like, so I sent him an email. I just said, hey, I want to let you know, I just FedExed or overnighted a check for, whatever, 12,000 some odd dollars. Here's why. I'm really sorry. Hope this won't affect our relationship. And I remember he just responded back and just said, he's like, you didn't have to do that. I totally understand. No hard feelings. I'm blown away. What else can I do to serve you? What else can I do to help you?
Cool.
Like, can I introduce you to somebody? He said, is there anything I can do to kind of get back in? He was like apologizing. Like, is there anything I can do to get in your good graces? Can I do custom landing pages? Can we do a private launch together? Like, can I send you the $12,000 back? And can we do a private launch together? Blah, blah, blah. It was like, again, going back to that point earlier, like it's hard to really upset people, So, that's number one. Does it fit your audience? Always has to be.
Yeah. And I feel like we sort of overestimate people's feelings on this type of thing too. Like we sort of, we assume that like, they mailed for me, but I really can't mail for them. They're going to be pissed. Dude, we mail for people all the time and we don't even think about the fact that like, hey, you've never actually promoted us back. Like
doesn't cross
not even
our
on
mind.
our radar, not even in our vision. Like we promote stuff because we think it's good for our audience. That's it. That is the only thing. If you didn't promote back, we probably didn't even realize you didn't promote back. And I do think a lot of people sort of overestimate that aspect of it.
Yeah. Now, that said, some of the first people I would reach out to are the people that you've promoted.
Yeah.
And it's not
don't get me wrong.
There is the principle of reciprocity, of course. Use it to your advantage. Please do not misunderstand me. Use it to your advantage. It's just that, to your point, if they say no, it's not like you're going to be like, well, that person's kind of a butthole. No, you're just gonna be like, oh, all right, whatever.
All right, try that.
But I would definitely start with them.
Yeah, no, it's a good call.
So, the last little topic that I wanted to touch on real quick was you seem to have worked with like some of the sort of biggest names in our industry, right? Some of the legends, right? Brian Tracy, Rich Schefren, Michael Hyatt, Ray Edwards, Lewis Howes. I'm looking at my notes here now. But, you've worked with some of the biggest names in our industry. And I'm just kind of curious, how did some of those connections happen? Like, what advice would you give our listeners who want to get their foot in the door with some of these people?
Serve and serve and serve and serve and serve. Be on people's radar. The best way to we know how to get on people's radars. You show up for their Facebook lives, you comment, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to spend 3 hours a day commenting on Facebook. I think I may have spent 20 minutes a day, most days, engaging with their content. Back when blog comments were a thing, I would comment on their blogs. There's a way. Blog. Nobody comments on blogs anymore. Okay, what I smell is an opportunity.
Yeah, that's prime for the picking right there.
Wow, I want to be the one of 400 people who commented on Facebook. Stop liking posts. Actually comment. Stop wishing people a happy birthday on Facebook. Shoot them an email. Shoot them a
text if you can.
If you've got text, shoot them a video. Again, I'm trying to speak to both. Like, I've got some connections, and then the people are like, I just started in my niche. I've got nobody. Engage with their content. Take a picture of you with their book, and post it on social media. And tag them. Like all those little things But then I want to share a very specific strategy, actually, because it's the specific way that kind of got me into where I'm at. And it was the very genesis of what I'm doing now. 7 years ago or so, I saw a call to action from a guy named Jeff Goins, pretty well-known blogger. Said, I'm looking for stories of people who have, come from like having a crappy career to being in a successful career. I was like, well, that's kind of me. So I filled out the application, interviewed with him. I was in it. The book's over there, The Art of Work. I think it's chapter 12 or 13 or something. And then that whole chapter is about me. And fast forward about, so that, as you know, with the book writing process, it was like a year and a half before the book actually came out. So the book was coming out in March of 2015. In December of 2014, I was promoting Michael Hyatt. This is before Michael had become a client. Promoting Michael, and I did really well, but not like outstanding. I think I finished like 6th or 7th in the, on his leaderboard. And I was one spot ahead of or below Jeff. But to everybody in the top 10, this is the thing. I replied to the final email with the leaderboard. I replied to every single person on that leaderboard. And I said, hey, congratulations, awesome job, something like that. I think I even created like an image in Canva. Like, I don't remember, maybe it wasn't even Canva. I think it was Fireworks. Still, Canva existed back then. Created an image that said like, congratulations, Don, congratulations, Ray, congratulations, Jeff. And I replied to that email. Well, of course they see the email because it's in that thread. It's in that subject line, right? Of the one that they definitely opened, because it was the email announcing where they finished on the leaderboard, and everybody opens those. Well, Jeff saw it and said, hey, can you talk tomorrow? I'm like, well, you're Jeff Goins. Yes, I can talk tomorrow. Another guy ended up becoming one of my best friends in the space, Jonathan Milligan. We connected because of that email. He was like, man, I've been seeing what you're doing. I've been wanting to connect with you. So we ended up talking for like 2 hours. This is Jonathan and I. We've been up starting a mastermind together, and we've been friends. We promote each other. We made, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars through each other, all from that email.
Wow.
Jeff said, let's connect. I talked to him the next day. He said, can you run my book launch? And I said, yep, sure can. I've been wanting to get into this space. Let's do it. So he's like, okay. Like a week later, he's like, I need a number. Tell me what the number. I need to go to my publisher and tell him how many books I'm going to sell. I said, how many did you sell last time? He's like, 3,000. Just for the record, as you guys know, less than like 0.00001% of authors will ever sell 3,000 books.
Oh yeah.
I'm not diminishing it, but 3,000. And I'm like, tell him 15,000. He's like, there's no way I'm telling him 15,000, dude. You're a lunatic. I like, what are you doing? I was like, tell him. I actually fought him over it. I was like, well, listen, I'm going to tell you right now. You're going to do 15,000. I'm actually not going to do this. I'm not going to sign the agreement if you don't say 15,000. It's like, okay, told him 15,000. We did 22,000 books. You made, every bestseller list out there. Wow. So naturally, 6 months later, he's having dinner with Michael Hyatt and Lewis Howes. And also on that email that I sent, the reply was Ray Edwards. About 6 months later, Ray Edwards became a client. That was how that email led to me getting Ray Edwards on my podcast, my old podcast. That podcast interview led to me getting him as a client. And becoming a dear friend. Yep. And then, so he's having dinner with Lewis Howes, Jeff Goins is. About 6 months later, Lewis calls me up and says, hey, I got my book coming out in about 6 months, School of Greatness, which went on to be a number 2, New York Times, Wall Street Journal bestseller. Can you run it? Yes, I can. 6 months, a year later, Brian Tracy reaches out and says, hey, I'm launching a new book. Can you help? Yes, I can. Product launches. We started doing, we did Raise, and who was promoting Raise but Michael Hyatt. So of course, Michael reaches out and says, can you run our launches? So we did that for a few years. That's really how it works in this world, in any world for that matter. You hustle and you hustle and you hustle and you bust your butt to get that one connection. And as soon as you get that connection, if you do right, I worked my butt off for Jeff. I was by myself with one assistant.
Wow.
And it was like, by the next one we had, me and Mark, and then we had me and Mark and Robbie, and then, my wife started doing more stuff, and then I had like 4 assistants. And so now we've got this whole team. but I worked my butt off because I knew instinctively, I never knew that it was going to lead to Michael Hyatt or that it was going to lead to Ray Edwards or it was going to lead to Lewis Howes. I just knew that if I helped Jeff hit 15,000 books, let alone 22,000, if I helped him hit 15,000 books, he's going to talk. He's going to
spread the name around and start referring folks your way.
And that's really what it comes down to. And it's like, you get on one good podcast. I mean, I've been on the Hustle and Flowchart podcast.
Right. You can't get better than this, man.
You peaked. You're at the top now.
Yeah, I mean, I've done Entrepreneur on Fire and Smart Passive Income and Ray Edwards. I mean, like you look at the list of like top, 25 marketing and management, I think is the category now. Podcasts. I've been on like half of them. So it's not like a big thing. It's not like a big deal for me to reach out and say, I've already been on these podcasts. Can I be on yours? And they're like, well, yeah, and that's how it works. You just got to get that one. And how do you get that one? You get that one because I don't think that Jeff would not have asked me to run his book launch had he not interviewed me about what I do for a living. And I would not have reached out to him about him interviewing me for what I do for a living had I not been following him on Twitter and seen that and taken action. And it's like, so what was it that landed me that? Was it the email I sent? Was it the fact that I finished high on the leaderboard? Was it the seeing that thing on Twitter, which quite frankly was dumb luck because I only follow like 72 people. But still, the odds of me seeing any individual tweet are about 1 in 10.
True.
Back then, like, what was it that got? It was all of them, and it was every single one of those things that got me, to be able to do that. And so it kind of takes. It's just persistence. It's just like the follow up.
That's
I
it,
talked
man.
about the follow up earlier. It's so cliche. Gosh, it's so cliche, but it's that image. It's in my head every day. Like I'm doing something and I get tired and I remember this image. We had this saying back when I worked in sales and it was just one more call. Every day I'm just going to do one more call.
Yep.
Well, when does that stop? I don't know. Because if I do one more and then I do one more and then I do one more, but it's that image of the guy, we all know this, where the one guy is like hammering into the wall and there's the other guy walking the other way with his hammer. And he was this close to getting
the 3 feet from gold thing. Yeah.
And it is so cliche. Which blow got you to the gold? Was it the last one or was it the other 999? And so it's like, you just keep doing all the things. You comment on their Facebook, you DM them and like little things that stand out. Like, don't be one of 400 people commenting, shoot them a DM and be like, here's how your post touched me. I liked this episode because everybody listening right now. I'll just tell you right now, go pick one of Joe and Matt's last 50 episodes. Preferably this one because it's the best one. But listen to it in detail and find something, and just find something that they said and then reach out to them and say, when you said this, here's what it did for me. Be a success story for them. Be like, don't just go leave a rating and review. Do that. Please help their podcast out. Leave a rating review on iTunes. See, I just did that call out for you.
Thank you, sir.
Like, that's great. That helps them reach more people, but be the guy to them. If you're a rating and review, you're one of many. If you're whatever, you're one of many. Reach out to them and say, I loved it when you said this. Here's what it did. And thank you. And now I don't think of it this way, but it's like a point system. Now you've got 1 point out of 50. And then when you see them at an event, and you're like, yeah, like, hey, I'm Matt McWilliams. You're like, wait, the guy who sent me the email 3 months ago, like, we have a subconscious brain. It's somewhere in there. And now you got like 8 points because, they met you at an event and then you engage with them and you wish them a happy birthday. And like all these little things that you can do just to connect with people on a human level. I mean, that's how you do it. And I don't know. I don't know when you're going to hit 50 points. It's going to be in conversation where you accidentally end up sitting next to Joe at dinner. Right. Because you have a mutual friend that you went to high school with and Joe plays, squash with. I don't even know what squash is.
Oh, you'd be surprised how many people on our podcast have come because of somebody we went to school with, knew somebody else who introduced us to somebody else. And
then that's the thing that, suddenly Joe opens the door and says, what do you do? Well, I run a company that does this. Oh my gosh, really? Like, we need a company that does that for us. How do I give, like, how much do you charge? Well, it's, $20,000. Great. Can I write you a check right now? Like, that's how this stuff happens.
There it is.
Was it the fact that you were at dinner? Maybe. Was like, what was it that did that? And like, if you hadn't have wished Joe a happy birthday 3 years before, maybe this never would have happened. I don't know. Because you would have been at dinner, you would have been a stranger, but instead you're the guy that served them, and you're that guy that shared our episodes like 52 times, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's how these things happen.
I really like the point analogy, just to make it a little bit more tangible to keep people on the process. Because I know I'll just wrap this up with Rich's event, and one of the big reasons we were there is my connection to Mars, who was running the live stream. I met him 8 years ago. And I never once did a project directly with him, but we always supported each other. And he told me straight up, he's like, whatever you're doing, he's like, your character, this is what got you this far. And just know that that's what's getting you in the room, is the way you're showing up, the way you're serving people, and what we're doing and all that. He's like, don't stop that, because that works. He's like, it might not be obvious. And a lot of this stuff that you're talking about right now, it's not obvious stuff, but it's just being a good human. It's supporting, it's reaching out in unique ways. And it opens up massive doors if you're consistent with it.
Yeah.
So
I think there's actually something else to it, though. I'll tell you, because it's so funny you mentioned that. How we got connected with Rich was through Michelle, Mars's fiance.
Mars and Michelle, yeah.
She had promoted Jeff Goins. See how this goes.
There you go, man.
She had promoted Jeff Goins. We did such an awesome job. She had it in here, but we branded myself. We branded myself. That just sounds weird. I don't know. Anyway, when we decided on the brand, it could have been anything. It could have been, Matt McWilliams. Could have been Matt McWilliams podcast. There's actually an ironic reason why we chose the Affiliate Guy podcast. It's because I said for years, when I was doing more personal development, blogging and stuff, I didn't want to be the affiliate guy. I didn't think that was big enough to impact the world. Actually turns out, by helping people who are just starting their online platforms make their first couple $1,000 so that they can keep going and stay motivated and don't have to give up after 6 months like most people do, that it's completely revolutionizing the world of industries that I can't even conceive of. And it's like impacting children who are autistic, and it's impacting, families who have, attention deficit children. And it's like impacting the gardening niche and the financial niche and all these niches that I never could have impacted in the personal development space. So we named it the Affiliate Guy podcast. Well, the funny thing is that became the brand, and in the YouTube channel, the affiliateguy.tv, and all these things became the Affiliate Guy.
Yeah.
And so it's like connecting those points. Well, we're looking for an affiliate guy. What about that guy who ran Jeff Goins' launch and did such an amazing job? Let me look him up. He's the affiliate guy. And I'm not joking. On every call that we had with Agora, at some point, somebody would say, what if we did this? Blah, and they would suggest an idea, and they would say, but you're the affiliate guy. What do you think? Yeah. And it just became the thing. It was the thing I didn't want to be, but it became the thing. And the thing about that is, what you have done, Joe, is not only, have you done all the right stuff, but you have a brand. And you, like you said, you showed up every day, and you've got this, this platform that keeps you in the public eye, so to speak. Even it's a small public, let's be honest, for all of us. And a lot of us think we're big deals. And the reality is, like, I literally once at church had that's a whole different story. It was a very weird situation.
Yeah. I've got a couple stories like that too, but we're not famous. Yeah.
And it doesn't act like you don't get spot. You go to Walmart and nobody recognizes you.
And it's a good thing.
I'm in my hometown and nobody recognizes me.
I'm in my own house.
So, but we're a big deal in our niche because we have that brand. And so it's the combination of those things. I truly do not believe that if you didn't have this podcast, that Mars would have had you do a thing. I don't believe so.
I agree.
And I don't believe if we didn't have the Affiliate Guy podcast, I don't believe, if I wasn't publishing 2 pieces of content and I didn't have, hundreds of Facebook Lives And, and I think we're on episode 330 just released today.
Wow.
So around the same point as you, like if that wasn't the case, I don't think I ever would have been hired by them.
Totally agree.
Even if I had run Jeff Goins' launch and all those things. So it's like, you have to have the combination of those two things.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I love it. I think we could probably keep talking for another 2 hours, but we do actually have another podcast that we have to record shortly.
I also have really bad dry mouth right now, so I have to stop.
That means it was a great, great conversation.
It does.
Man.
Well, cool.
Thank you.
Where should we send people after listening to this episode?
Go to mattmcwilliams.com/hustle. Guys, I've got a free report for you guys. I'm going to show you how to find your first 100 affiliates. So all the stuff we kind of touched on, all like the little email templates and where you can find these people. There's actually 15 places in there where you can find affiliates. So not just going to Google and typing in your competitors. That's one of them. Got some email templates and swipe files and all kinds of fun stuff in there. So just go to mattmcwilliams.com/hustle. And then you'll get an email that has the PDF. When you get that email, guys, just hit reply and reach out to me. And, just let me know who you are, where you're from, what you do, what your favorite color is, like Buddy the Elf all of a sudden.
I'm going to give you big props.
Just let me know about you.
Yeah. So mattmcwilliams.com/hustle. Go there, do everything what you just said. I'm just going to props. That's the best call to action that any guest has had on our podcast, let alone a custom landing page, but how you directed them, the journey of what they should do afterwards. Good stuff, man.
Nice. I have to go listen to this to say, what did I just say? Because I have no idea.
Well, we'll help you out. We got your back on the podcast front, so
we'll make this audio public, so you can.
Oh, thank you. This is going to be a public podcast.
Yeah. We're going to make this public.
It's an hour 20 or so of nothing.
All right, you were recording this.
Oh shit! I forgot to hit record.
Mind blowing.
Let's do it all again. Ready?
Let's start over. All right, Matt. Well,
hey guys,
it's
nice to see you
it's
today.
been awesome, and I'm looking forward to having more conversations and seeing where we take things together.
We will.
Totally, guys.
Thank you, brother.
See ya.
Have a good one.
Take care.
Thanks so much for tuning into that episode. I hope you dug it. I know Joe and I dug it. I actually kicked Joe out of the room. He's not here right now because I wanted to tell you about a tool that I really, really dig. We use it in our business. We recommend it all the time. It's called Easy Webinar, and it's a tool that lets you do live webinars, automated webinars, hybrid webinars, and, pretty much any other kind of webinar if there are other kinds of webinars. But anyway, this tool is kind of like your all-in-one, do-it-all tool for anything webinar related. It's Easy Webinar. It's put out by a dude named Casey Zeman. He's been on the podcast. If you haven't listened to that episode, it's a killer episode. He's a really smart dude, but his software is amazing. It does everything. It's, the title tells you exactly what it does. It's an easy webinar platform. And we use this in our business to run automated webinars all the time. We don't do a lot of live webinars these days. We like to do the kind of automated webinars where somebody can register and then they can either watch it like 15 minutes later or they can watch it the next day, but it's just kind of always running. And it's a system that helps us make autopilot sales off of our webinars. Super cool tool. If you haven't tried it yet, it's an amazing tool. And Casey is actually hooking you up. He said for listeners of Hustle and Flowchart, I can't believe he's doing this, but he said for listeners of the Hustle and Flowchart podcast, he's giving 25% off of the membership to use Easy Webinar. It's already super, super inexpensive for what it does and all the cool features it has, but he's hooking you up with 25% off because you're a listener of Hustle and Flowchart. Go to easywebinar.com/hustle. That's where you can get that 25% off discount. That's easywebinar.com/hustle. It's a awesome tool. You're going to dig it. So just go grab it. Check it out. easywebinar.com/hustle. See ya. No, not see ya. You'll hear me in the next show. I don't know how to close these things. Go get Easy Webinar. Talk to you later. Thanks everybody for listening to this episode of the Hustle and Flowchart podcast. Before taking the time to listen, we want to give you something a little bit special. Every single episode that we do, we actually have somebody on our team take notes. We basically have a Cliff's Notes version of every episode where you can go and find all of the tips and tactics that they laid out, all of the resources that they laid out, all the good stuff from this episode. We actually have a nice simple notes version that you can find on our website. So go to evergreenprofits.com, find this episode that you just listened to, and give us your email address and we'll send you the notes.